Fight Fuel MMA is coming at you with a pre-fight breakdown of the biggest fight of the year, the main event of UFC 254, Khabib the Eagle Nurmagomedov versus Dustin the Highlight Gaethje.
Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Dustin Gaethje is going down, headlining UFC 254 on Fight Island. Saturday, October 24th at 2 p.m. this time, Eastern Standard Time.
Why is it 2 p.m.? Something about time zones in Russia or somewhere else. It's definitely not because they care about the fighters and when they want to fight.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
Time doesn't exist on Fight Island, apparently, so I guess it doesn't matter.
In its own universe.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so before we get into the fight itself that's coming up, that is probably one of the most anticipated fights of the year. A lot of speculation on who's going to win, which we'll get into. But we need to backtrack a little bit. How did we get here? How did we get with this headliner of Khabib versus Gaethje?
Well, the fight that everybody had wanted to see for years was Khabib versus Tony Ferguson. And the UFC tried to put that fight together 5 times.
Yeah.
And every time, literally 5 times, and every time the fight fell through due to injury, due to tripping over cables, due to too much tiramisu, due to global environmental factors. It didn't matter what it was, something got in the way of the fight being made.
Just was never meant to be.
Yeah.
I think that's what we just need to say at this point. And they could just never fight. Because I think at this point, if they try to make them fight again, aliens will invade the earth, volcanoes will begin to erupt. Like, what's next? Uncle Dana, please stop booking this fight.
And he still said that depending on who wins and what's going on, he would try to make Khabib versus Tony a 6th time. And that's when the alien invasion happens. 100%.
Yeah, just ask GSP.
He knows about it.
Yeah.
So what we got instead of Khabib versus Ferguson was you had a fight between Dustin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson to decide who was the interim lightweight champ.
Yeah.
We all know what happened in that fight. Dustin Gaethje smoked Tony Ferguson, who made weight twice during the course of his camp and didn't really look like the Tony we've come to see in the octagon.
Yeah, but man, Dustin Gaethje came to show us that he has learned from his 2 losses in the UFC. His only 2 losses. Mm-hmm. We saw improvements from the Dustin Gaethje that first came into the UFC, who already looked spectacular. Everyone at that time, when he first debuted, were thinking that he was just going to steamroll the entire division. But what happened? He got stopped because there were some holes in his game that Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier pretty much highlighted in their finishes of him back to back. Yeah, and this was at the same time that Khabib was winning the title from vacant against Ale Quinta. So he was at the top of his game at this point, and this is when Gaethje was at, I would say, his lowest point in his career.
Yeah, it's an interesting synthesis of their career path. And Gaethje, for a guy who came into the UFC and destroyed Michael Johnson, annihilated him. People were hyped, they're talking about it, and then back-to-back losses, and people started to speculate, hey, maybe Gaethje's not UFC caliber. Remember what happened to Hector Lombard when he came in? Yeah. He was a world beater, and then he just got destroyed.
Yeah, he proved us completely wrong to we didn't think that, but anyone who said those things, he proved them wrong in his next few performances. James Vick, Edson Barbosa, knocking those guys out in the first round, that's a way to show everyone that those 2 losses were just something to look back on to see that he made changes from there.
Yeah. the domination of Cowboy and the utter destruction of Tony Ferguson. I would say, of all the fighters, you know, there's the cliche that you learn more from your losses than your wins. Of all the fighters that I could think of off the top of my head, Justin Gaethje has improved off the back of those 2 losses more than any other fighter.
Yeah, I just feel like he now is so much more tactical in his approach while still putting on an extremely exciting fight. So at this point, a lot of people in the media, a lot of pros are speculating that Justin Gaethje is going to be Khabib's worst opponent as far as matchups for Khabib.
Now, what did Gaethje improve? You know, you say he shored up some holes in his game. There was one glaring hole. It was defense.
Yeah.
Gaethje always says he goes out there with that kill or be killed attitude, and he does. But the man used to eat so many unnecessary shots and put up the medieval guard and just let you wail on him. And he'd just be like, you hit me in the head. Okay, now I kick you in the leg. You hit me in the head. I hit you. It was insane. It was sometimes hard to watch.
Exhausting to watch. And I couldn't even imagine being in his corner. Just
Trevor Whitman's got to be having a heart attack every time he goes out there. Yeah, but Gaethje, since those back-to-back losses, started to fight with a bit of a thought for defense, and it made a world of difference in his results.
Yeah, and one thing that he always has, perennial, is his cardio. Setting an insane pace and keeping it there and just bringing the fight to his opponents every single time.
Yes.
The pressure, it's just unreal, the amount of pressure that he puts on his opponents. And I think a lot of the pros think that that style of fight is a really bad matchup for Khabib's style.
Now, we're talking about Gaethje a lot. Let's talk about Khabib. Khabib has never lost, with the exception of his fight with Gleison Tibau, which I still insist he lost.
He definitely won that.
He lost it. We're going to do a video on it.
Check back at some point on that.
Some point in the near future. But Khabib's style has been and is take you down, pound you out, submit you, make you quit. He's competent on the feet, definitely not a striking master,
but he has had his own knockouts in his own right.
He's good enough on the feet. He's not as good as Gaethje on the feet, but on the ground he has been able to dominate everybody and just wilt his opponents.
Yes.
You know who's not going to wilt? Justin Gaethje. The way Gaethje fights with that forward pressure, I think is going to translate into his get-ups and his scrambles. I think Khabib will take him down, but I think Gaethje will get up. And you know he's not tapping.
If anything, he'll go out if
he's going to go out.
Khabib gets his arms around his neck.
He's going to go out. He's going to let something break.
Yeah.
Gaethje will not give up.
Yeah, I don't see that happening. A quick tap, like a face crank to McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
With the quick tap. I don't see Gaethje doing that. I don't see him backing down. I do see him getting taken down. In my opinion, I think Khabib's going to find a way, like he always does, to pin this man down, hold him down, and pound his face in.
Yeah, because that's what Khabib does. He moves forward. Sometimes his entries into takedowns even seem a little reckless. Maybe they're not set up quite perfectly, but nobody has been able to stop the takedown. This is Khabib's style in a nutshell. When he gets his hands on you, you go down and you stay there. That's why Khabib's the champ right now.
Yeah, and this is what most likely his game plan is going to be. I don't see him wanting to do a stand-up fight with Gaethje, but you never know. He has changed his game plan just for the fun of it before, where, let's say, Michael Johnson, was it?
Yeah, no, Johnson was the Kimura.
Oh, Al Iaquinta.
Iaquinta.
That he didn't want to finish the fight. He wanted to show, look, I can do everything. And he'll pick his times to be like, oh, you know what? I'm not going to wrestle. I'm going to stay on the feet to show everyone what I can do. I mean, there is always potential for him to do that, but I think that he is taking this fight very seriously, considering that across the octagon is going to be, according to popular opinion, his toughest opponent yet.
Yeah, and in the Al Iaquinta fight, I think Khabib said, oh, maybe the reason I wanted to stand in the later rounds was I watched so much Muhammad Ali footage the night before the fight I wanted to box. I think Khabib was a little bit tired going into the 4th and 5th rounds. I think he couldn't hit his takedowns on Iaquinta. I think that's why he stood. Both these fighters press forward so much and put so much pressure on their opponents. Come the 4th and the 5th, they are both going to be tired. I actually think their cardio matches up perfectly. So if in the last 2 rounds, Gaethje can withstand the storm that is Khabib's takedown game, I think he's going to have an advantage on the feet in the last 2 rounds.
But what we haven't seen is Khabib's breaking point. We haven't seen that yet. We've seen Gaethje's breaking point.
Yeah.
So what do we think about that?
That's interesting because I think Gaethje's breaking point is when you turn his brain off. Khabib, nobody's even come close to finding his breaking point. That's why everybody's so hyped about this fight. Of all the fighters, Gaethje's the guy to find your breaking point. This is what makes the matchup so enticing.
Yeah, and on top of that, these are 2 extremely exciting fighters to watch. It is so exciting to see Khabib's insane, utter domination over the entire lightweight division.
Except for Gleason Tibau.
He won that. And to see Gaethje after those back-to-back losses, just with experience and understanding of what he needs to do to win at the very top.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, before we go, I want to get a little into the specifics of what these 2 guys bring. So, for Justin Gaethje, the leg kick is probably his biggest weapon. The leg kick that just takes your ability to advance, takes your ability to sit down on your punches, takes your ability to shoot shots. And it's a good weapon on Khabib because you're not kicking high. He's not catching you. The risk of the takedown off the kick is lower. This is going to be, I think, Gaethje's biggest asset in this fight.
And so long as Khabib can withstand the leg kicks, I'm sure he has something that he has been working on in training to combat that. That is one of Gaethje's signatures. So I'm sure he will have some sort of way around it. He's going to get his takedown no matter what, like he always does.
We live in New York. This is what's up. Brooklyn!
Now, Khabib knows that this is one of Gaethje's signatures. I guarantee you he will have some sort of game plan to combat it, to go around it, to work around it, to get that takedown that he always gets by any means necessary. And with him, he changed them together so well. It's how do you even keep up with it? It's takedown attempt after takedown attempt after takedown attempt, and then he finally gets it. He gets that Dagestani handcuff that is his signature. He gets it on everybody, and eventual submission, eventual TKO, something. Because he will be able to get that takedown. He will be able to get through those shots. He'll be able to get around those leg kicks and hold him down, pound him out.
Possibly. The other thing Khabib does on the ground, which is pretty unique to him, is he figure fours his legs around his opponent's legs. When he gets on top of you, moving into the mount position, he gets your legs pinned together, figure fours his legs around them, and it takes away your ability to hip escape, to push back, to get away, and it lets him climb up your body.
And even if you do end up getting some sort of guard on him, he will just take this specific type of stance where he can just wing punches at you right through your guard.
Yeah.
So even if you have the magic ability to get out of that lock, you're still in for a lot of punishment.
To combat the figure four hold that Khabib puts on your leg, Gaethje can reach into his back pocket and pull out the wrestling that he has. And he can use his wrestling in reverse. Term for the old days, Mike Goldberg always used to say that about Chuck Liddell. He uses his wrestling in reverse. But Gaethje can use his wrestling to get back up and to potentially stop Khabib's takedown game.
Yeah, I think he can keep up for a little while, but every single opponent that Khabib gets, no matter how caliber their wrestling is, they can stop many takedowns, but they can't stop all of them. So that, I think that's where the problem lies. It's like you can only fight that off for so long. It's like you're drowning when you're going against him.
All right, so to sum it up, if Khabib can take this fight to the ground and keep it there, I think he wins a decision. If Gaethje can keep the fight standing, I think he handles Khabib on the feet and possibly wins by TKO. But we don't know what's going to happen. That's why this matchup is so exciting.
Yeah, it's not just a shoo-in for Khabib this time, and a lot of people are realizing that. But I can't go outright and say that he's going to lose because look at how amazing he's been.
Yeah, I have no idea who's going to win.
Seriously.
I want to make a pick. I really don't know.
Yeah, well, if, like we said, a decision on the ground to Khabib and possibly a TKO to Gaethje.
Standing. Yeah.
So that's our picks if it goes one way or the other.
Yeah, that's our hedged bets right there.
There you go.
So listen, guys, it is that time in the video where we put up our best comment from our last video. We're going to frame it up right here. I'm going to get this frame one day. Thank you for commenting.
Comments.
If you're watching this and you're still here, thank you. Also, if you like our stuff, like, comment, subscribe. We want to hear your thoughts. Yeah, do you agree? Do you disagree with us? Do you hate me because I think T-Bow beat Khabib? Let us know. And we're also working on top starches in the UFC.
So check back soon. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in our next one.
Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.